Welcome to Geeks Corner Reports. I'm Mr. DAPs,
And I'm Murray the Bellhop.
and today we're going to talk about the raising of prices at Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
That went into effect on Sunday. So now, if you want to go for a one-day park ticket with one park, $96 if you're ages 10 or older, and for under or 3 to 9, actually, it's $90.
Mm-hmm.
One-day park hopper is $150, or if you're a kid, $144. Two-day park hopper is $178, or kid $165. That's two-day one park, excuse me. Two-day park hopper is $217 for adults and $204 3 to 9. At this point, you might as well buy a pass. 3-day one park per day with Magic Morning. This is getting confusing. Is $226 for adults, $215. There's a bunch of other park hoppers that you can see on dapsmagic.com that goes all the way up to a 5-day park hopper with Magic Mornings. There's lots of options. If you want to get an annual pass, Southern California Select Passport's $289. Deluxe annual passport's $519. Premium annual passport is $699, and the grand total for a premier passport is $1,029. Parking at Disneyland is now $17 for an auto, $22 for oversized, and $27 for buses. The parking actually seems like the most expensive thing to me as I'm looking at this, because pretty much everywhere in California you go, it's $15 for parking, maybe $12.
Knott's is 16 now.
Oh, Knott's is 16.
Knott's is
so
16.
Orange County is breaking the mold on that.
Yeah.
And then they did get rid of first-time Southern California annual pass sales. But if you are already a pass holder at that level, you can renew. I think up to 90 days after your pass expires too. So they're giving a little bit of leniency on that matter as well.
Yeah.
I did write an op-ed. I guess it's an op-ed is what I wrote, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't write those very often, but I did give my opinion on dapsmagic.com. You can read it there. But we thought we'd discuss a little bit about the price increases, if they're fair, if they're reasonable, all that kind of stuff. So what is your first thought as you're looking at, or when you first heard of the price increases on Sunday? Let's go with that.
I was not surprised.
No, it happens every May.
Yeah. So I figured it was going to come at some point this month, but
I actually thought it was going to be the week before, because I was talking to people. I'm like, hey, I'm surprised. It's usually like May 2nd or 3rd week when they raise the prices. But anyway, continue.
But I knew, I mean, it was coming in that way, and so I figured this is going to increase, and I'll just be prepared for it. There's somewhere that I read at first that they were saying, I mean, I have the premium pass, and so they were saying it was increased to $80 or $100 at first, or that's what they thought. That I thought was going to be alarming to me, but when I read it was about what, like a $30
something like that
increase, something like that. I was like, oh,
I mean,
well,
really,
that's
when
standard.
it gets to this price, you kind of just go $10 is no big deal.
Yeah,
$30, $40 more. It's like, okay, here you go, just take my money. So you were.
So the price increase, I wasn't too shocked. I was surprised at the eliminating of new Southern California passes.
I actually like that.
I like it, but I was shocked that they just did that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a surprise. Like, I figured they would more announce something about it. And,
yeah, I think they could have done maybe a warning or something and just said, hey, this might happen in 6 months or something, or have an overlap time or a leeway time, I guess, for people that like you mentioned, your friend that has a kid that will be 3 soon.
Yeah.
And so that's going to make it a little bit tricky for them, because if the whole family has that type of pass and the kid comes of age that you have to pay, then
they either do the select or the deluxe, and that's all.
Or just get the kid premium and you can have free parking. I don't know.
The 3-year-old gets parking.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you go to the 24-hour Disney day, you can get your popcorn and your soda, because you have 4 kids in your car, whatever. I don't know, 4 people in your car. Which is a great deal, by the way. Yeah, that was kind of my thought too. What do you have, like? Did you start thinking about like why they would do this?
Oh yeah.
What was your theory?
My theory is what I've even heard is that the parks are overcrowded. Well, we've observed.
Anybody that goes to Disneyland knows it's busy.
Well, my parents have a pass. I think the comment that they commonly make is, "Oh wow, it just seems like there's no time that it's not busy anymore."
It's always busy.
And they don't like that. They want to come.
And with the new the marathons, the half marathons, it's going to be even busier.
Oh yeah.
In the future.
So I think I think the reason why the pass is eliminated is because it is Southern California, so it is for residents who are nearby that will crowd the parks on any
Hmm.
given day. And so it's not, I think, really fair to visitors who are making a vacation
It's
out of
true.
going to Disneyland and they come and it's just horrible crowds because of us pass holders. I mean, I'll lump myself into it.
Hmm.
I don't think I help people on vacation very much. And so to get rid of
Although we
one,
don't go on that many rides, so maybe they want more people like
that's a good
us
point.
that eat food and watch
Hang out by the
shows
piano,
and
yeah.
watch the parade, because lots of people can watch the parade.
Yeah,
There's still space.
yeah. It's crowded and it happens anyway, but yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
So,
I think that's probably a point. And the thing that popped into my head that I wrote about is the wear and tear of having that many people come through the park on any given day.
hmm.
It's tiring if you're a guest. You see, it's tiring for cast members. Like
Oh yeah.
you can tell on the busier
Yeah.
days that they're just worn thin,
Hmm.
and it costs more money. If you have a carpet that everybody's walking across every day at your house, eventually that carpet's going to wear out, and the more people that walk over that carpet, the
Hmm.
faster it's going to happen. So the same is going to happen with everything at Disneyland, and I
Yeah.
really do think that they want quality. Like
Yeah.
I think there's a recognition that yes, they want quality, and on the flip side, they want to do that with the best return on their investment because it's a business. But I don't think they're out to chintz people. I don't think they're out to ruin
Yeah.
people's lives. I think they're trying to create a quality experience. When you walk in the gate, you can go on attractions. Think
Hmm.
of that first summer with Star Tours a couple years ago, where it was hours that you would
Yeah.
have to wait. That's not a quality Disney experience.
Mm.
That's standing in line and hopefully you get along with your family. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's a very unmagical experience.
Yeah.
um, so that's just kind of my hunch is
Hmm.
they're trying to clearly just raising prices aren't keeping people away from Disneyland, because the last what was it last year
Yeah.
where they had the big jump in prices.
Yeah. Was it a
Man,
bigger joke?
it was either
I don't
last
even
year or the year
remember.
before, and I remember everybody saying, "You just watch. Nobody's there's going to be a
Oh
huge
yeah.
plummet
Yeah,
in
we were talking about
people
that. Yeah.
coming in the gates." And I remember people saying this, and I was like, I don't know. I kind of
Yeah.
think people are still going to come, and they have. Like people are still coming through the gates. They're
Yeah.
filling up the parks, and you go on a Sunday afternoon, especially, it's a busy
There's
day.
no difference
Hmm.
between. I think sometimes there's no difference between Sunday and a summer day,
Yeah.
really,
Well,
which is one of the busiest
and it
times.
seems like July now, when everybody but the premium
Hmm.
is
And
blocked out,
Premiere, yeah,
has become the month to go to Disneyland, because
yeah,
with all the other annual pass holders blocked out, it's become a much more
hmm,
enjoyable experience, I think.
yeah,
I love the days where you can walk through the park and not have to wait super long for things, and
yeah.
experience things.
Well, I'll put something out that I've heard from people who are in knowledge of like the Disney company and all. Disneyland and Disney World are different in philosophy of how they're getting rides in, and I
Hmm.
mean, you mentioned about quality, and it's because of the amount of annual pass holders that are at Disneyland
Yeah.
that I would dare say we maybe don't have new rides as often because, like you were saying, like Star Tours had a huge influx when it first opened, but now probably the most it really gets is like a 45-minute
Yeah, I'd say
line.
that's fair.
And I think it's because it was so new, it drew all the annual pass holders to it. And then now that it's not new,
Well, and even
nobody goes on.
piggybacking on what you're saying, I remember friends, and even you visited shortly after Star Tours opened in Florida, and it was a 5 minute wait,
Oh yeah,
while we had
there's nothing.
hour waits at the same
Yeah,
time out here, and it was just like, I want to go to Florida
yeah,
and ride it for 5 minutes with a
yeah.
5 minute break, and we got to later, but yeah, I think that could be part of it. And the other aspect, I think, from an annual pass holder standpoint, um, is with both gates to the park being literally steps away, it's very easy to park hop.
Hmm.
Whereas if you're in Florida, they can handle more annual pass holders at any level,
Hmm.
just because it's not as easy to, say, go from Epcot to Animal Kingdom and then to Magic Kingdom. You can't just do that quite as quickly. You spend a lot of
Hmm.
travel time, which is great because that's eating up people.
Yeah.
And so I feel like
Hmm.
maybe one future solution is to have a third gate somewhere not quite as easy to access, where you can't just walk across.
Yeah.
Somewhere the Toy Story lot you hear occasionally popped up is, hey, that
Mhm.
could be a future something, or somewhere else that's fairly close to the resort. And so it's like, well, maybe they should push it a little further away just to eat time and space and give more room for annual pass holders and stuff like that. Um, they also got rid of the annual pass. What do they call it? The day passes, when your pass is blocked out and you
Oh, I
can buy
didn't
the
even
yeah.
catch that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so those are no longer
No
there.
blockout
You
date
can either upgrade to the
passes. Yeah.
next pass, or you can buy an actual blockout. Thank you. Or you can buy a ticket for the day, and I think that's
Hmm.
probably a good thing too, because I know lots of people that
Went
would
ahead
do
and
that. They're like, oh, my pass is blocked out. I'll just pay
get
the
a nice
whatever,
one.
and
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
Oh. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
think still the premium pass is the best deal, just because you get parking and the discounts with it. But that's just my humble opinion.
Mhm.
The question that I've seen addressed a lot as we've been looking at our comments, and which generally have been fairly positive. I've been really impressed
Yeah.
with
I'm
people.
surprised.
I was expecting a lot more dissension. There was some online, but
Mhm.
not nearly as much as I thought. And then the question that I've seen pop up a few times is, what would Walt do?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been saying they understand this, and it's a business. So what do you think Walt would do?
I've actually read a book called In Service of the Mouse, and it actually gave a
It's a great
perspective
book.
on this. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Little promo for the
Oh yeah,
book itself.
definitely read it.
Um, and in the way Walt was portrayed was he didn't want to maybe raise prices just for the sake of raising prices, but he did understand that raising prices or having tickets cost a certain amount would help produce more quality rides
Mhm.
and like bigger dreams of
You have
his
to
and bigger
have
dreams of
money.
other people.
Great things cost.
So yeah, I know he from what he was saying in the book, he didn't like to raise prices, but um, for things like this, I could see him maybe doing it. Maybe not to the extent that we have it, but I don't think it's something to say like, oh, Walt would never raise prices. I
I think
mean,
you would.
I think he would too, because if you can't keep the ticket prices for Disneyland being $10
Well, and I
in the
think
long
at the end of the day, yes, Walt was a dreamer, but he also realized that you had to get certain things done.
run. Hmm.
And I think also he always wanted to preserve his dream.
Hmm.
And I think if you have, when I first got my annual pass, it was, I think, $79 or something.
Yeah.
If you had a $79 premium pass today, can you imagine how many millions of pass holders there would be?
Oh yeah. I mean it's well, and then even if you look at day ticket today,
Yeah,
if the pass is $79 and you're looking at maybe like a $40 day ticket, I think we'd reach capacity every single day
we would.
at
Yeah.
Disneyland, and that's not good
No.
for
And then
quality
you go into the
or
quality
yeah.
issue, you go into the line issue, you go
Hmm.
into the cast member issue, and then just think of that many people crammed together. It's not fun.
No.
I don't like going on the 4th of July, or, sometimes it's fun to go on New Year's Eve because it's New Year's Eve and they're doing all the special things. But imagine that kind of crowds every single day, and that's what you would get if you had too low of a price.
Hmm.
And they've shown raising prices isn't kicking people out. So I think that's
Yeah.
kind of where they've had to do this cap also, and
Yeah.
there's a possibility for caps on other levels of passes too, which if it happens, it happens, and we'll report on it when it does,
Yeah.
or if it does, I guess. And
I've got to say, I mean, we keep talking about quality, and for what you pay for just a day at Disneyland is actually, I think, so much cheaper than how much you would pay for a Universal Studios. And I've had a year pass to Universal Studios
how much was
Hollywood
that?
before. At the time, it was I think 78 is what
Okay.
I paid. So that was to get a day's worth, and then they extended it to a year. And honestly, I think they have to extend it to a year because I frankly don't want to go back until maybe like 2 years from now. Like I think it was
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago when I had that years time, and then I'm fine with waiting another 2 years. I mean, you look at a park like that, I would get through it.
It doesn't have the repeatability factor.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
I would get through it in like 3 hours, going on all the stuff that I wanted to, which
I've
was
heard
like
other people say
90% of
that
the
too.
rides
Mhm.
and shows, and I was done. I was good
Yeah.
for in 3 hours.
Yeah.
And so the amount that I spent, um, I mean, in some ways it was worth it that it was a year, but I just don't think it was that quality
Well,
of a
and I
park.
was thinking the last time I went and saw Paul McCartney in concert, I spent $500 a ticket for 3 hours.
Yeah.
People will drop money on what's important to them
Mhm.
and what's of value to them. And I think of how much we spend on concert tickets, how much we spend on
Movies.
movies. You
Yeah.
know, if we go to an IMAX movie now, it's ridiculously expensive. So
It's
you
almost $20 if not more.
yeah, $20. Yeah, exactly. And
For 2 hours.
for 2 hours. So you start taking the how much you're paying per hour at Disneyland. If you go a lot, you really don't end up spending that much.
Mm.
We shouldn't be saying this because they might raise the prices even more, but let's hope not. But the value there, I think, is still there, and that's
It's cheap, I think, for the
it's
value that you actually get from
yeah
a Disney park.
yeah it's yeah
Or you're paying not that much, I think, for what you
right.
actually
You're
get.
getting a
Yeah.
decent deal. Like I don't like paying. I miss the days when it was around $100
Oh,
for
yeah.
an annual pass because you didn't even blink twice about it. Now I definitely go.
Yeah.
But and I always worry every May. It's like, oh, what am I going to be stuck with? This is my last year.
Hmm.
And I know people that are having these conversations, but at the same time, when I was a kid, we got to go maybe once every couple of years,
Hmm.
and it was one day. We'd come on vacation from Oregon or Minnesota, wherever we happened to be living, and we would get one day at Disneyland, and we loved that one day at Disneyland. But we couldn't afford 2, 3, 4 days at Disneyland, and I think we appreciated it that much more because of it.
Hmm.
Just my hunch. We would love to hear your guys' feedback on the prices. Do you think they're too much, too little? Should they cap more passes? What do you think the solution is? Um, I don't know that they're ever going to lower prices. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, as much as I think everybody wishes they would.
Hmm.
But even with a third gate or something, I mean, they could do Star Wars or Marvel or something. Um, that's probably going to lead to higher prices. But one last thought as I'm sitting here. Uh, think of how much prices have gone up in the last, let's say, 15, 20 years
Hmm.
for annual passes. And think of how much has been added to
Yeah.
Disneyland Resort in the last 15 to 20 years. Some people are going to say, oh, well, it's DCA, and that just shouldn't have ever been done. But, you know, that might have been a valid argument for the first couple of years. But now look at with Cars Land, Buena Vista Street, World of Color. These are
Yeah.
huge additions to the resort.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, our passes might be astronomically more expensive, but we're getting astronomically
Hmm.
way more things too. Look at, you know, Star Tours just
Yeah.
popping into my head. How much more advanced that
Yeah.
is. Look at the new Big Thunder Mountain. You know, there's so
Matterhorn
many
is redone. Yeah.
Matterhorn.
Space Mountain. I mean, yeah.
Mhm.
There's
And
a
there's
lot.
so much more still coming. So I do have to
Mhm.
wonder, you know, what those numbers would add up to. And I've seen them a couple of places, and I won't get into them right now. But you know, the value is still there because they keep adding to it. If we were still paying for the Disneyland of 1995 when I got my first pass, today for this price, no, I wouldn't be happy at all. But they've added a ton more.
Mhm.
So that's my thought. Do you have any closing thoughts?
That's something I was thinking about too, is and where I think it is just a great value.
Mhm.
And I I think the issue is like what you were saying, what are we willing to pay for? Really, this is luxury. And
Mhm.
so it is something we don't need in any of our
No, it's
lives.
something we really enjoy, and
Yeah.
it's a hobby. And what does a hobby do? It sucks money.
Yeah.
It's true.
Basically. So
Ask anybody who owns a horse.
yeah.
Um,
I think we've touched on a lot. Maybe one thing we haven't noted is um, we do feel for people
yeah.
who see this as, well, now I can't afford to go to Disneyland. You know, in the families who have been saving up to go on vacation. I mean, yeah, they raise prices. You have to save that much more,
Mhm.
and it's not pleasant to see something like that.
Mm-mm.
I think it's still doable to save up for it,
Mhm.
though. And like you're saying, your family used to do that. My family, that it was vacation about every other year, even when we were in California.
Yeah.
Um, we did that for a long time until I got my pass when I was in high school.
And really, that brings up the ultimate solution. If you don't like the prices, the only way these prices will ever go down and they'll get rid of the caps is if people stop going to
Mhm.
Disney. And I just don't really see that as a viable option. I just don't think people are going to stop going to Disneyland as long as they continue to make a quality experience. But if millions of people were to say, you know what, your prices are too high, I'm not going, and everybody went to Knott's Berry Farm, Magic
Mhm.
Mountain, and Universal instead, Disney would have to take a second look at what it's doing.
Mhm.
However, I don't see that movement. I don't
I
see
don't
that.
either.
I don't see that drive, and yeah, that's really if that's the solution. I
Yeah.
think if you really don't like the new prices, is don't pay them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the market works. But
Mhm.
I don't even like that. But anyway, that's what we've got for you on this week's, this month's, whatever this is, Geeks Corner
Special
Reports.
edition,
We'd love
yeah.
to hear what you have to say. We'd love if you also subscribe to our channel. And also tune in this weekend as we cover live the Disney 24 Rock Your Disney Side
Mhm.
event at Disneyland. It'll be quite the adventure. So we will see you around.